Hey friends, welcome back to Hot News. We took a little bit of a break, which I appreciate you guys letting me do that. I needed some time off of doing it, but we're back now for your Friday edition. We just want to remind you that this episode of Hot News is brought to you by UFD Deals. If you're looking for hot deals around the internet for your next PC build, check out UFD Deals. The link for that will be in the video description. And with that said, let's get into the first article because it's been way too freaking long. Has Windows ever shut down on you in the middle of you playing a game, or in the middle of you streaming, or literally in the middle of you doing anything, even though you told it hours previous that you didn't want it to? Well, apparently Microsoft has actually heard our plight and is doing something about it. It appears in an upcoming update to Windows 10, they're going to be using machine learning to help it understand whether or not you left your computer for going to get a cup of coffee, or if you're actually done with using your computer, and that way the updates can be less intrusive. Hopefully, that's the idea. I'm sure people are still going to get ticked off by it. I'm sure there's still going to be streamers who lose their stream because Windows is just like, you're not doing anything important. Video games aren't a real thing. Let's restart. It's good to see that Windows is actually trying to fix this, but I want to know, how many times has this happened to you? Were you working on an important project and Windows just decided, nah fam, this doesn't need to be for you right now. I'm gonna take the reins here. I have bad news for those of you who are using your Android phones for mining. The company has started to ban cryptocurrency mining apps from the Play Store. This includes apps of any kind that use your device to actually mine cryptocurrencies. However, it does not extend to apps that are used to monitor remote rigs or whatever you're doing that's not currently on the device. Cloud services are totally okay, but mining with your brand new Galaxy X or whatever we're gonna call it, the new ROG phone, is not gonna be a reality. That would be a great use for the ROG phone because it has like the active cooling and then you can dock it. Like, that would be genius. Did ASUS make those for crypto mining? Well, it appears they're not gonna be able to do that. So if that was their forethought, it's kind of dead now. Does this affect any of you guys? Let me know. Did you ever try actively mining on your phone? Click that poll right up there. Not necessarily did you try it, but were you actively doing it? Did you have like a mining rig going on with your phone? I'm aware that there's other apps that like can be used for beer money for you to earn money with your mobile device, but I'm talking specifically cryptocurrency mining with your phone. Speaking of gaming phones, it appears that Samsung wants to actually get into that arena. The rumored upcoming Galaxy X or Galaxy 10, whatever the frick we're gonna call it, Samsung is reportedly going to make that a gamer-oriented smartphone. This is coming out of a report from GSM Arena saying that a reputable Twitter tipster with a good track record on previous leaks has indicated that the upcoming flagship phone will be marketed towards gamers, just like the Asus ROG phone or the Razer phone or that other one that launched that was the first one with RGB. I can't quite remember its name. The Nubia Red Magic, that's what it was called. I don't understand the point of gaming phones. I never game on my phone whatsoever. Like, it's a productivity device for me, or it's used for making phone calls. Playing video games, not something that I regularly do, but given the response to our Asus ROG phone video that we did at Computex, where we criticized it, it appears that a lot of you out there actually do care about gaming phones. So Samsung's looking to get in on that game, so you'll have more options than ever if that's your jam. What games do you even like? Clash of Clans, do you need a gaming phone for that? V, starts with a V, Vainglory. But like, a normal phone runs that. Like the Galaxy S9 Plus can run Vainglory. Why do you need a freaking gaming phone for it? Games that people actually want to play though, that's the news we're talking about now. EA has announced their unlimited PC game subscription service called Origin Access Premier. In case you're wondering, wait, I thought EA already had in-game access programming. You'd be right. It was called Origin Access, which cost $30 a year and allowed you to access titles on a release basis that had certain ones in the vault, certain ones active now that you could actually do. This new service, Origin Access Premier, gives you access to all of EA's games and including launch titles up to 5 days before its official release date. The service will cost about $15 a month, or if you want to pay for it annually, it comes in at $100 per year. So if you want to play Anthem before it launches for your friends who can't actually afford this service, then you might want to look into this. We'll leave a link into the description if you're interested in checking it out. It's not an affiliate code or anything. We're just indicating that you can play video games sooner, which is great. Everybody can find out if Anthem's a disappointment before it releases. Speaking of money, it appears that Amazon is growing very close to a $1 trillion valuation after massive report earnings from yesterday. This $1 trillion valuation would be the first time for any company and is basically inevitable. And given the current state of world affairs, I think that we can just bow to Amazon as our coming world leader. All hail Jeff Bezos. The expected number for Amazon was supposed to be $2.50 of earnings per share, but it turns out that they've doubled that to be about $5.07. That resulted in the stock jumping up quite a bit, which meant that Amazon is now worth a lot more money. Which this is especially surprising considering that the profit of $5.07 per share is 1,200% higher than it was this time last year when it reported a profit of only $197 million as opposed to the $2.5 billion that it did this quarter. By the time you're watching this video, one of the longest lunar eclipses in over a century will have already taken place. About 4 hours ago, the blood moon started and lasted for a whopping 103 minutes, making it the longest one this century. Let me know, did you guys actually get to catch it wherever you live in the world? Apparently here in South Africa, it's going to be good. I'm predicting it in the future, even though you guys are watching this in the past. I don't know how time works. The blood moon made my brain all crazy. Time travel, wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey, wubba lubba timey-wimey. That's the moon from where I am. Look at all of that ISO. Oh my gosh. Or this is a conspiracy theory video where there's tons of UFOs flying around while the blood moon happens, and there's a star over there that sometimes is there and sometimes isn't. Oh, look at that. Let's get into a bit of, I guess, good and mediocre Intel news before we get to the titular piece about Intel really crapping the bed hard. It appears that AsRock is confirming that their H310 motherboards will be able to support the up to 8 core processors that should be releasing very soon. This is coming from a picture from Video Card showing a current AsRock motherboard with a sticker slapped on it saying 8-core CPU support. This is also on top of the news that happened earlier this week that we didn't report on because I didn't get hot news out, but it appears that Intel is going to be scrapping hyper-threading from their i7 lineup and making the i7 9700K an 8-core, 8-thread processor, which means everything that made an i7 since its inception does not exist anymore. It appears that they're just going to be shifting the product stack down, like the Pentiums became i3s, the i3s became i5s, the i5s became i7s, and now the i7s are going to become the i9, with the i9 9900K having 8 cores and 16 threads. This is also in conjunction with the rumors that are floating around, but have been confirmed by multiple different sources, that the i9 9900K and the i7 9700K will both be soldered CPUs. Intel is doing this so that they can actually get that many cores on these CPUs, because otherwise the TDP would be much higher than the 95 watts that they're trying to aim for. Supposedly these are going to be launching next week, so we won't necessarily have to wait too long to find out about that, or it's all completely made up and everything that's going on here with the Intel stuff is just a whole bunch of malarkey. Speaking of rumors that might be made up and are not necessarily confirmable, WCCF Tech, our world's favorite rumor source, has now reported on some details of the next-gen NVIDIA GPUs that we could possibly expect. One of the things that they are discussing is the fact that NVIDIA still hasn't decided on what they're going to call it, whether it's the GTX 11 series or the 20 series, or whether or not it's going to be the 1170, or it might be something akin to an 1175. Everything is currently up in the air with regards to that. They're saying that NVIDIA hasn't even told the AIB partners exactly what it's going to be named, so they're not printing boxes yet that say 1180. So if you see any of those on eBay, be sure to stay far, far away, because apparently it's not even true. So instead of breaking things down by name, WCCF Tech, at least according to their sources, is breaking things down by the TDP that they expect on the next-gen GPUs. Now again, I want us all to take this with a gigantic grain of salt, just like we did with that previous email linked by that YouTuber. We don't have any confirmation of this and whether or not it would be accurate, and there's a few things about this that make me question what the heck is going on here. So the big news, and the one that I put in the title, is that they're expecting that the 1160 equivalent, or the 1060 replacement, the 120 watt TDP next-gen NVIDIA GPU, will come in at an MSRP of around $499, which is multiple hundreds of dollars more than the GTX 1060. The 150 watt TDP 1070 replacement will be around $599, and the 180 watt TDP, the 1080 replacement, should be priced between $699 and $749, with my estimation being towards that $749 lineup. Then they're also stating that NVIDIA will drop the price on the GTX 1080 Ti by $100, which is a little weird for me, and then the GTX 1080 will drop in price by $50. The reason that $100 price drop on the GTX 1080 Ti is strange for me is because it would reduce the price from $699 to $599, which would be the competing price of that 150 watt next-gen Turing GPU that they're talking about. Which one would you buy at that point? The 150 watt NVIDIA GPU, which either is better or worse than the 1080 Ti? If it's better or worse, you obviously have your choice, so why would they price them exactly the same after this price drop and the new generation launching? Like, if the 1170 is so much better than the 1080 Ti, or its equivalent at less TDP, why would anybody buy the 1080 Ti? They're also stating that out of the 3 cards, 2 will have 8 gigabytes of VRAM of GDDR6, and the flagship will have 11 gigabytes again, which is horrendous, stupid, and I hate it. Like always, the 1080 Ti should not have 11 gigabytes. Nothing should ever have 11. That is a terrible number, and I hate it. And the 11 series is stupid. At least it's 1100. Like, it doesn't end in 11. Like, if they called these things the 2011s, I would be very upset. So that would be different than the current 1060, which has 6 gigabytes of VRAM. They would be launching the 1160 with 8 gigabytes. Then they're expecting that the 1180 would launch sometime in the first week of September, the 1170 would launch a week later in the second week, and then the 1160 would launch at the end of September. That lineup actually makes a lot more sense than the one that was previously reported in that email that we talked about on Monday or Friday, I can't even remember. Because that's kind of similar to the way that the 10 series was launched, with the 1080 and the 1070 being launched close together, and then the 1060 being a little further off. I honestly don't know what to make of this. The pricing structure makes a little less sense to me. Why would they charge $500 for the 1160 unless the 1160 is over double the performance of the 1060? Because that's the only way that you justify that price increase. But then if we're getting double the performance out of the 1160, then the 1170 should absolutely destroy the 1080 Ti, but then it's the same price. I'm confused. I hope you guys are confused. This makes me wonder exactly what's happening. The rumors still aren't very clear. We have no direction this is going. We will not know any more information until NVIDIA actually says something. I think the one thing that we can confirm is that the 1180 will be better than the 1080, and they'll be using GDDR6. That's where my stance is. I want to know what you guys think of this rumor down in the comments. Let me know, does this make sense? Am I missing something? Am I not thinking of something accurately? I want this to be a conversation. What could we do to better understand this report from WCCF Tech? Now let's get into the good news, bad news, good news situation that's going on between Intel and AMD. If you haven't heard, most of the major companies revealed their earnings from Q2. That's why we were talking about Amazon being nearly worth $1 trillion. It appears that Intel had a massive Q2. They're actually doing really well when it comes to money right now, but in the earnings call that they talked about, they're saying that their 10 nanometer processors are still really far away. We can expect to be on 14 nanometers until holiday of 2019. So that means we have over a year that Intel will be on this exact same architecture that they've been giving us since 2015. Now, that's not necessarily bad news if Intel doesn't have any competition. But oh wait, what's that? Team Red, you're still relevant? Yes, AMD confirmed in their massive Q2 earnings report that they are expecting to be fully on pace for their 7nm EPYC CPUs, which were originally designed to compete with Intel's 10 nanometers. The Ice Lake Xeons are expected to launch sometime in 2020, even though the 7nm EPYC Rome CPUs are supposed to drop in the first half of 2019. It looks like we might have 6 months to a year of AMD's domination in the processor market, which this also extends into the consumers because Lisa Su confirmed that we would be getting EPYC 7nm first, and then we should expect to see 7nm on the consumer side later that year, sometime towards the fall. A lot of this is apparently thanks to the fact that AMD confirmed that they've increased their R&D budget by 25% over 2017, spending $357 million on it in Q2 as opposed to the $285 million that they spent on it in Q2 of 2017. So even though Intel posted really great numbers for Q2, their stock did decline on the news that they are very far behind on their architecture. We were supposed to get 10 nanometer last year, folks. We were supposed to get it last year. They were working on it back in 2015, and it still has not arrived. And 2019 is going to be a really rough year to them. I expect them to lose both the performance crown to Zen 2 CPUs, both in the EPYC market as well as on the AM4 platform, but then they also are likely to lose a lot of market share. And even when Intel does release their 10 nanometer architecture, it likely will only remain competitive with AMD's offerings, with reports indicating that TSMC's 7 nanometer process is slightly better than Intel's 10 nanometers. So when they finally get it working, it most likely will not kick AMD's butt, but rather actually just be kind of relevant to it, which will be a healthy change of pace, I think, for Intel, that they might be behind a little bit. Obviously, from my stance, I don't want Intel to lose outright and them to be destroyed. I want a healthy, competitive CPU market where we're both getting good things from Intel and we're getting good things from AMD, because I think that's how the consumers end up winning in the very end. And I'm so glad that AMD is on track for 7 nanometers. I wish Intel was on track for 10 nanometers so that they could both fight at the proper time, but AMD gaining market share because Intel's lagging behind isn't necessarily a bad thing either. I want to hear what you guys think of Intel losing the performance crown, of AMD taking the reins probably in 2019. Obviously, this is still speculation, but just based on what we can expect from the 7 nanometer process from TSMC, things are looking really healthy for Team Red. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And that's gonna wrap it up for all of the hot news that we have for today. Let me know what you think about Intel losing, AMD winning, whether that leak from WCCF Tech has any merit whatsoever. I'm curious to hear what you guys think down in those comments down below. Don't forget to hit the like button. If you enjoyed this video, please get subscribed to stay up to date on all of our tech-related content. I am Brett with the UFD Tech channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see your smiling faces again in the next video. Cheers. We needed like a secondary cam so that we can show Reece's response to my questions, because like instead of asking you guys, I'm asking him. So, cut.